Have you ever stopped to wonder if everything you were taught about strength was wrong? That true power is not about building walls, but about quietly holding your own soul together? That perhaps real might is not about moving mountains, but about protecting the quiet flame, burning unseen in your chest? There is a silent war, a battle no one sees, fought not with swords, but with choices, with the small, almost invisible acts of courage, with the strength to remain whole when the world outside crumbles. Close your eyes for a moment, breathe, feel the invisible weight you carry, forgotten dreams, promises you once made to yourself, truths that slowly began to fall silent. This is what we are here to talk about. Not about conquering the world, but about crossing the quiet distance between who you are and who you were always meant to be. This journey is not for the eyes, it is for the soul, and it begins now. One step inward, an invisible crossing, a crown that only those who dare to feel can truly wear. There is a kingdom that no one can see, a kingdom without banners, without walls, without thrones carved in stone. It lives beneath your skin, between the silent beats of your heart, in the fragile space where dreams are born and fears are buried. You were crowned long ago, but you forgot. Taught to seek power in titles, to find worth in applause, you wandered far from the silent kingdom within. They told you strength was to conquer, that power was to command, that to be respected, you must be louder, faster, unbreakable. And so you ran, you fought, you gathered trophies, names, victories, but sometimes, in the loneliness between your victories, didn't you feel it? A strange emptiness, like celebrating in a palace made of smoke, because real strength was never out there. It was always inside, waiting, silent, patient as the stars behind a storm. True power does not shout. It hums like the earth beneath your feet. It rises not in the roar of the crowd, but in the quiet moment when you choose integrity over approval. When you say no to what dims your light, even when saying yes would make you loved. When you stay kind, even when the world sharpens its knives. This is the realm of the unseen, the battlefield no one cheers for, the crown no one else can place upon your head. It is not earned by defeating others. It is forged by facing yourself, your shadows, your fears, your forgotten promises. Imagine for a moment a king standing not above his people, but within them. A ruler not of lands, but of impulses, of anger, of the restless hunger that devours so many from the inside. You are that king, or you could be, but only if you dare to walk back, through the noise, through the mirrors, through the illusions that promised you worth in exchange for your soul. Only if you choose to sit on the silent throne inside yourself, the one no applause can give, the one no failure can take. This kind of power does not make headlines. It is the kind that makes a life, the kind that can lose everything outside, yet remain undefeated inside, the kind that does not crumble with time because it was never built with hands. It was built with essence. Close your eyes, breathe again. Can you feel it? That tiny flame, that barely there unbreakable thing that no disappointment, no betrayal, no loss could ever truly kill. That is your kingdom, your true strength, the silent empire within. It does not need permission, it does not need validation, it only needs you to remember. A soft drumbeat begins, like a heart waking up from a long sleep. The journey back home to yourself begins with a single vow. I will no longer chase crowns that cost me my own soul. From here on, we walk inward. We rebuild not with noise, but with presence, not with force, but with truth. This is how kings are truly made. not by the world's hand, but by their own quiet, unwavering return to the silent kingdom within. Not every war is fought with banners, not every soldier carries a sword. The greatest battles are waged in silence, invisible to the world, fierce within the heart. Inside you, every day, there is a war no one speaks of, a war between who you are and who fear wants you to be, between your wild, untamed dreams and the cold voice of doubt whispering that you are not enough. You smile, you move, you laugh at the right times. But behind the polished armor, there are wounds, old battles still burning in the marrow of your bones, and no one sees, no one claps, no one kneels at your unseen victories, yet still you fight. Every morning when you rise, you are stepping back onto the battlefield. The world teaches you to hide this war, to mask it under busyness, to drown it in noise, to pretend you are fine when inside storms are breaking cities made of your hopes. But if you listen closely, in the stillness between two breaths, you will hear the clash of unseen swords. You will feel the trembling courage it takes just to show up, just to keep loving, just to keep believing when every scar tells you otherwise. Real warriors are not the ones who win loudly. They are the ones who lose again and again, yet refuse to lose themselves. The battle inside is not about conquering the world. It is about not letting the world conquer you. Every time you choose kindness over anger, you win. Every time you forgive yourself after falling, you win. Every time you dare to hope again after a night of despair, you win. But no one gives you medals for this war. No one crowns you after a quiet day of resilience. It is a lonely kind of glory, one that only your soul will ever truly understand. And maybe that's why it's so precious, because it is yours alone. There is a sacredness in the battles fought in silence, in the tears no one sees, in the private moments when you decide, quietly, invisibly, to stay faithful to the path no one else can walk for you. And sometimes the heaviest battles are not against others, but against yourself, against the part of you that wants to give up, against the voice that says you are too broken, too small, too late. The real enemy wears your face, speaks in your own voice, tells you to settle for a life smaller than the one you were born to live. But listen, there is another voice too, fainter, older, more stubborn than fear, the voice that says, rise one more time, rise. It does not scream, it does not command, it simply waits, steadfast in the ruins, offering its hand when all seems lost. You were born with this voice. It is the echo of the part of you that cannot be defeated, the part of you that remembers who you are, even when you forget. And every time you choose to listen to it, you win the battle no one sees. You walk a little straighter. You carry a light that no darkness can fully extinguish. This is the hidden war of becoming. And every scar you carry is not a mark of failure. It is proof that you were here, that you fought, that you loved wildly enough to hurt, that you lost, yes, but you dared to stand again. And that perhaps is the only kind of victory that matters. They taught you to believe that a king must be unbreakable, that true strength is cold, untouched, invincible. But the truth is, the most powerful kings are often the most fragile, not because they are weak, but because they have chosen to keep their hearts alive. Strength is not the absence of wounds, it is the choice to build a fortress without turning your soul into stone. There is a hidden fortress inside you, a place not built by pride or by fear, but by the quiet labor of protecting what is sacred. It is made of nights when you chose to be gentle, even when the world told you to harden. It is made of mornings when you rose again, even with hands trembling from battles no one saw. The fragile king is not a king who falls, he is a king who feels. And feeling in a world that numbs itself to survive is the rarest form of courage. Your hidden fortress does not need to look grand. It does not need marble pillars or iron gates. It might be as simple as a breath taken when anger demanded violence. as a single step forward when fear screamed to run. Every time you choose to stay true to yourself, you lay another stone in that unseen fortress. And yes, you are fragile. And yes, you are strong. The two are not enemies. They dance inside you, like the sea and the sky, like the flame and the smoke. Real power is not the absence of vulnerability. It is the mastery of it. It is the knowledge that you can be shattered and still choose to love, still choose to trust, still choose to hope. The fragile king walks into battle knowing he might bleed. He extends his hand knowing it might be rejected, and that is why he is powerful beyond measure. Because anyone can wear armor, but only the truly brave can walk unarmored through the fire and still refuse to let their heart be stolen by bitterness. The hidden fortress you build is not a fortress against the world. It is a fortress for your soul. It is a sanctuary where you remember you are not your scars. You are the light that shines through them. You are not your failures. You are the hands that learned to build again. You are not the battles you lost. You are the quiet song that rose even after losing. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture this fortress, not as a towering castle to keep others out, but as a garden where your truest self can grow without fear. Imagine tending to it, watering it, guarding it, not with anger, but with tenderness. Because not everyone will understand your fragility. Not everyone will honor your softness. Some will mistake it for weakness. Some will try to use it. Let them. Your strength was never for them to see. It was for you to live. The fragile king is not concerned with appearances. He knows that his crown is invisible, that his real victories happen in the silent gardens no crowd ever enters. And in the end, when the noise fades, when the battles grow quiet, it is this hidden fortress that remains. It is this sanctuary, built from your own tenderness, your own truth, your own undying will to stay soft in a hard world, that will hold you. And it will be enough. It will always, always be enough. There comes a moment in every true journey when you realize not everything can be saved, not everything should be carried, and yet there are things, quiet, sacred things, that must never be lost. This is the art of protection. Not the protection born of fear, but the protection born of love. You see, the world will ask you to trade your soul for speed, for recognition, for security. It will offer you noise in exchange for silence, crowds in exchange for solitude, applause in exchange for your truth. And the danger is not in losing battles, it is in forgetting what is worth fighting for. There are things that once broken cannot be rebuilt. The innocence in your laughter, the quiet in your thoughts, the sacredness of your own word, the dreams that carry your fingerprints, the ones no one else could dream for you. If you are not careful, you will spend your life chasing prizes that cost you these treasures. You will win the world and lose yourself. But not you, not now. Now you know, not everything deserves your energy. Not every invitation deserves your yes. Not every road deserves your footsteps. To protect what truly matters is to become selective, precise, intentional. It is to say, I would rather disappoint the world than betray myself. It is to recognize that success without peace is failure. That victory without soul is defeat. And yes, sometimes protecting what matters will look like weakness to those who have forgotten how to feel. Let them think so. Your loyalty is no longer to appearances, it is to your essence. Imagine a flame, small but steady, burning in a storm. Your dreams, your values, your spirit, these are the flame. The storm will come, it always does. But your task is not to stop the storm, it is to guard the flame. There will be days when it feels foolish to care so deeply. Days when you will want to close your heart, to turn away, to let go of what once mattered most. Do not. The world does not need more hardened hearts. It needs those brave enough to keep their tenderness alive. It needs those who understand that protecting what truly matters is not weakness. It is the most radical form of strength. Protect your mornings of silence. Protect the people who remind you of who you are. Protect your curiosity, your wonder, your willingness to hope. Protect the parts of you that the world told you were too soft, too wild, too much. Because those parts are where your magic lives. Without them, the palace you build will be hollow. The crown you wear will be heavy. The victories you achieve will taste like ash. True kings and queens do not protect their crowns, they protect their hearts. They know that if the heart stays whole, the kingdom will rise again, no matter how many times it falls. Close your eyes now. Breathe. Ask yourself softly, what am I guarding with my life? What am I sacrificing without realizing? Listen to what arises, because what you protect defines who you become. And one day, when the battles are long past and the seasons have stripped away everything false, you will stand there barefoot and unmasked and realize it was never about building a perfect life. It was about protecting the soul that dared to live it. And that will have been worth everything. The world has many ideas about what it means to lead. Raise your voice, take control, move faster, louder, bigger. But true leadership is none of those things. True leadership begins in silence. It is not the roar of ambition. It is the whisper of presence. It is not the hand that commands. It is the heart that understands. There is a quiet rebellion happening, a rebellion of souls who refuse to lead through fear, who refuse to wear crowns made of noise, who choose instead to lead through being, through living what they ask of others, through embodying what they believe, even when no one is watching. The quiet leader does not seek followers. They seek truth. They do not shout to be heard. They listen to be changed. They do not climb higher to be above others. They dig deeper to be rooted among them. Imagine a tree in a raging storm. It does not move with the panic of the winds. It does not fight the rain. It simply holds, strong and silent, its roots tangled with the unseen earth. This is true leadership, not in commanding others, but in mastering yourself. Not in moving crowds, but in moving your own spirit when it wants to fall asleep. Not in inspiring fear, but in awakening courage. First in yourself, then quietly in those around you. Leadership is not a performance. It is not a title. It is a weight you choose to carry or not. And the heaviest kind of leadership is the leadership of the self. To rise each day and lead your mind toward hope when despair is easier. To lead your hands toward kindness when bitterness tempts. To lead your voice toward truth, even when silence feels safer. This is the rebellion the world needs. Not more rulers, not more noise, but more guardians of what is unseen. You do not need to wear a crown to lead. You do not need to own kingdoms to be kingly. You need only to live as though your actions are seeds, planted quietly in the soil of other hearts. Because they are. Every act of integrity you choose, every act of compassion you give, without demand for return, every time you speak when it would be easier to stay silent, you are leading. You are building worlds that will outlive your name. There is an ancient power in leading this way, a power not rooted in control, but in creation. You are not here to conquer others. You are here to conquer the part of yourself that still believes you must earn your worth through domination. You are not here to shout above the noise. You are here to become so still, so rooted in your own truth, that the noise simply moves around you. Leadership begins when you stop asking, "Who will follow me?" and start asking, "How can I serve what is sacred in me and in others?" It is the quiet rebellion of becoming, of choosing presence over performance, depth over speed, purpose over popularity. Close your eyes. Feel that stillness rising inside you. It is not weakness. It is not hesitation. It is strength, ancient, patient, and wise. It is the quiet voice saying, "You are not here to win the world. You are here to heal it." And the healing begins with you. At first, the board seems full. The pieces stand in tight rows, shoulder to shoulder, ready for the future you imagine. Everything feels infinite. Everything feels possible. You are young, not just in years, but in spirit. But seasons turn, as they always do. And life rearranges the board without asking for your permission. Some pieces fall. Some are taken from you without warning. Dreams you once protected like sacred relics fade into dust between your fingers. The moves you thought you would make are no longer possible. The strategies you planned so carefully begin to crumble like old maps under unfamiliar skies. And in those moments, those aching, hollow, bewildering moments, you are asked a quiet question. Will you cling to the board as it was, or will you learn to play with the board as it is? Adaptation, the invisible crown of true mastery. Anyone can move boldly when the plan unfolds perfectly. But it takes another kind of strength, a deeper, quieter, older strength, to move with wisdom when the ground shifts beneath you. You see, life was never about controlling the board. It was about learning to move with grace as the board inevitably changed. The seasons will not ask for your consent. Spring will not wait for you to be ready. Winter will not soften its arrival because you are afraid. You can resist. You can rage, you can mourn the fallen pieces, and you should. Grieving is holy. But after the storm, after the shouting inside your soul quiets down, you will face the real task, to pick up what remains, your battered courage, your quieter dreams, your unfinished hopes, and move again, not because you forgot what was lost, but because you remembered what still matters. Real strength is not clinging to a vision of what should have been. It is seeing clearly what is and choosing to dance with it anyway. Imagine an old king in a broken castle. The walls cracked, the banners torn, the soldiers few, and yet he does not sit in despair. He lights a fire. He gathers what remains. He strategizes again, because leadership, true leadership, is born in the seasons of scarcity, not abundance. It is easy to be brave when everything goes right. It is holy to be brave when nothing does. The seasons will change you. They must. You are not meant to stay the same. The king you are at the beginning of the journey is not the king you must become at its end. In spring, you may move with the wildness of youth. In summer, you may charge with the boldness of fire. In autumn, you will learn patience, the art of waiting for the right moment. And in winter, you will discover the power of stillness. The board changes, the seasons turn, and every change, every loss, every unexpected turn is not a betrayal. It is a call, a whisper from life itself. Come deeper, come wiser, come truer. You were never meant to stay who you were. You were meant to grow into who you are becoming. Close your eyes, feel the current of change inside you, soft, unstoppable, eternal. It is not your enemy, it is your oldest teacher. The seasons will take much from you, but they will leave you with something greater, the wisdom to know that true kings do not cling to the past. They carry the fire forward, always forward, even when the night is long, even when the path is unclear. Especially then. Because when the board changes, you do not lose the game. You simply become the player you were always destined to be. Even the strongest king, the wisest queen, the bravest warrior cannot walk alone. No matter how vast your kingdom, no matter how fierce your will, there will come a day, a silent, sacred day, when you realize your strength is not measured by how much you carry. It is measured by who walks beside you when the weight becomes too much. We were never meant to survive alone. The myth of the lone king, the solitary hero, is just that, a myth. In truth, the greatest victories are built not with solitary genius, but with hands joined across the invisible bridges of trust. The heart knows this. It beats differently when it is not alone. It steadies itself when it feels the presence of another heart, loyal, true, unafraid to stand in the storm beside you. Look around your life, not at the crowds, not at the applause, but at the few, the rare few who stay when the banners fall. These are your allies, your hidden army, your soul's true inheritance. An ally of the heart is not someone who agrees with you always. It is someone who reminds you who you are when you begin to forget. It is someone who holds your crown when you are too tired to wear it. Someone who sees the king in you even when all you see is ruin. And you too are called to be this for others. To stand watch over their flame when their hands are shaking. To guard the sacred fire until they are strong enough to carry it again. This is not weakness. This is not dependency. This is the architecture of true kingdoms, built not on conquest, but on connection. You may be strong enough to walk alone for a while. You may even build wonders with your own two hands. But sooner or later, life will ask you to open the gates of your fortress and let another soul walk in. Not to save you, not to complete you, but to remind you that we are not here to carry the world on our own shoulders. We are here to carry each other. True strength is knowing when to fight alone and when to let yourself be fought for. True wisdom is recognizing that vulnerability is not a crack in the armor. It is the doorway to real belonging. In the sacred story of every great king, there are always unnamed heroes in the background. The friend who spoke truth when it hurt, the mentor who gave wisdom when it was needed most, the lover who stayed when the night was longest. Their names may not echo through history, but without them the king would have fallen, the queen would have broken, the story would have ended too soon. You are writing your story now, and the question is not just, how strong am I? The question is, who strengthens me? And whom do I strengthen in return? Because no kingdom rises on one pair of shoulders alone. No crown shines without many unseen hands lifting it into place. Close your eyes. Feel the faces of those who have stood with you, the ones who spoke when you were silent, the ones who stayed when it would have been easier to leave. Whisper a thank you, even if they are far, even if they are gone. Their footprints are stitched into the soil of your becoming, and as you walk forward toward whatever battle, whatever horizon calls your name, remember, you are not alone. You were never meant to be. And that beautiful truth is not your weakness. It is your greatest, quietest, most sacred strength. There comes a moment at the end of every true journey when you must ask yourself, for whom have I been moving? For what have I been fighting? Because the truth is simple and it is fierce. If you move for applause, you will always be a prisoner. If you move for approval, you will always be a stranger to yourself. But if you move for purpose, if you dare to move for something deeper, older, truer than any clapping crowd, then no matter how many battles you lose, you will never truly fall. You see, the board of life was never about defeating others. It was always about finding yourself. Every move was a mirror, every loss a lesson, every victory a whisper. Remember who you are. And in the end, the final move is not about winning the game. It is about playing it with such intention, such clarity, that even when the pieces fall, you have no regrets. Because you lived, not for the flashing lights, not for the momentary cheers, but for the silent knowing that you stayed loyal to the fire burning inside your chest. Purpose does not shout, it does not seduce, it does not demand, it waits. It waits in the quiet hours when no one is watching. It waits in the small choices that no one will ever praise. It waits in the unseen acts of courage that no one will write songs about. And when you move with purpose, you enter a different kind of game. A game where success is not measured by how many see you, but by how deeply you see yourself. A game where the real victory is staying aligned with your own soul in a world that is constantly trying to make you forget it. Imagine this. You stand at the edge of your life, looking back at the board behind you. Pieces fallen, castles built and crumbled, victories and failures woven together like one endless breathing tapestry, and you smile. Not because you won every battle, not because you were never afraid, but because you played, with heart, with truth, with purpose. You protected the king within you, the fragile, burning, sacred piece that made the whole game worth playing. You did not trade your soul for applause. You did not sacrifice your truth for comfort. You stayed the course. You honored the mission that no one else could see but you. And in that final move, not a move of force, not a move of spectacle, but a move of deep, quiet knowing, you crossed into something eternal. The applause fades. The crowns gather dust. The world forgets, but your soul remembers. And that is all that was ever real. Close your eyes now. Feel it. The quiet pride, the sacred calm, the final breath before the next beginning. You did not come here to win. You came here to awaken. You did not come here to impress. You came here to embody. You did not come here to gather treasures. You came here to become the treasure. The final move is not made with hands. It is made with spirit. A whisper to the world. I lived. I loved. I protected what mattered. I remembered who I was. And somewhere, deep in the unseen fabric of everything, the board resets. The game begins again. And you are ready. Not for applause, not for conquest, but for the quiet, holy, unstoppable movement of a soul aligned with its own deepest truth. And now, we arrive at the end of this path. But endings are never truly endings, are they? They are simply new beginnings disguised in softer clothes. You have walked through hidden kingdoms. You have crossed the invisible battlefields. You have remembered what it means to protect the flame within you, to lead quietly, to move with purpose, not noise. And maybe, just maybe, something inside you shifted. Not in a loud, explosive way, but in the way a river slowly carves its mark into stone, in the way a single seed splits the earth and dares to reach for the sky. You are not the same, and that was always the point. This was never about learning something new. It was about remembering what your soul always knew, that real power is silent, that real leadership is service. That real success is invisible to the world, but undeniable to the heart. Close your eyes one last time. Breathe. Place your hand gently over your chest. Feel the steady, ancient rhythm there. It is the echo of a crown no one can give you, and no one can take away. You were never here to conquer the world. You were here to become it. To embody your truth so fiercely, so quietly, that the world cannot help but change simply by standing in your presence. Carry this flame forward, not as a banner, not as a battle cry, but as a quiet, living prayer woven into every step you take. Walk lightly, speak truthfully, love ferociously, protect what matters. And when the world demands you forget, remember. Remember who you are and trust that is enough. It was always enough. Thank you for walking this path. Until we meet again on some quiet road, under some wide and dreaming sky. Carry your crown where no eyes can see it, but where your soul can always feel it. You are home.